All right, here we go. So in this video, we're going to go over some old stuff you did in Algebra 1. So I want you to remember that you used to graph systems of equations or used to solve systems of equations. And there was three ways to do it. You could do it by graphing, which is what we've done here. You could do it with substitution method, or you could do linear combinations, which sometimes people call the addition method. So to graph stuff, you have to solve it for y. So you have y equals 2x minus 7. So you see this line starts at -7, goes up 2 over 1. You can clearly see what's going on. All right, and then the next one is not solved for y. So this guy right here, 4y plus x equals 8. I'm just going to solve this for y like the quickest I can. I'm going to move that x to the other side. So 4y equals -x plus 8 turns negative when it moves over. Then I have to divide every single part by 4. And you can do this many ways, but this I think is pretty quick. So -1/4 x plus 2. So you can see that one starting at 2, going down 1 over 4. It's right there. So you hopefully notice that they intersected right here. Right? So that is my answer. 4, 1 is where they intersect. Now they can intersect in a nice pretty place, or it might be a really gross place. And so that's the bad thing about graphing, is that you might not get good answer, easy answers. So I'm going to do this next one that says example, and then you do with the one down below. So for this guy right here, the 3x minus y equals 1. I could move the 3x over and then get rid of the negative in front of the y, but let's try to do this a little easier. If I put the negative y on the other side, that becomes a positive y, and I'll bring the 1 back at the same time, becoming a -1. So I get 3x minus 1 equals y, and then I'm finished. So let's write that over here, 3x minus 1. So there's my new system. Now for the second one, it takes a little more work. 2x has to move over, so I have 4y equals -2x plus 8. But then I just divide everything by 4. So I'll get y equals -1/2 x. And I will get plus 2. All right, so we can graph these in our calculator, but we can also graph them on Desmos. And Desmos is a little nicer because it tells you the answers, not a lot of steps. All right, so let me go to Desmos here. So I need to graph y equals 3x minus 1. So just start typing in y equals 3x minus 1. All right, press enter and then type in your y equals, what was it? Let me see. It was -1/2, so -1 divided by 2 to make the fraction, x, and plus 2, right? All right, so let me make sure I got that right. -1/2 x plus 2, 3x minus 1. Yep, there we go. And so all you do really is you bring your mouse over here and click on that intersection, and there's your answer. We'll round it off to one decimal place, so we'll get 0.9 and 1.6. So that's what's kind of bad about 0.9 and 1.6 graphing, is that it might be a really ugly place where they cross that I could never have just told a nice answer to. All right, so pause the video and I want you to try this problem down here. All right, so if I'm solving for y, solving this guy for y, it just turns into -2x minus 5. And this one over here, I'd move the x to the other side, so I have -3y equals -x plus 6, and then I would divide everything by -3. So I get y equals 1/3 x minus 2. All right, so we can do this in Desmos, or we can do this in our calculator. All right, so when you're in your calculator, I need -2x minus 5, so -2x minus 5. And then down here below, I need 1/3 x minus 2. All right, so I press graph. All right, and so I do see them intersecting. And to get the intersection on your calculator, you have to press second, and up here in the top, trace, which is calculate, and you choose number 5. So you go down to number 5, or press the number 5 and press enter. And all you have to do when you get here, first curve, press enter, because that's it. It jumps up to the next one. Press enter again. And it wants you to guess, so don't bother, so just press enter again. So you press enter 3 times in a row. And look at that answer, gross again, -1.3 and -2.4. All right, so the biggest challenge here in this topic is to solve for y. So we'll just go over a few of these real quick. So this one, I hope you notice, I can just pop that 2x over there. Y equals negative 2x plus 7, solve for y. All right, the next one, I would rather move this y over here and put the 4 back. So I have y equals 3x minus 4, and that would be solve for y. In this problem, there's no way around it. I got to move the 5x over. So 2y equals 5x minus 6. Divide everything by 2. So I get y equals 5/2 x minus 3. All right, so I want you to, oh, no, never mind. All right, so we're going to have parabolas and quadratics in this in Algebra 2. So if I need to solve for y, I'm just going to move these two guys to the other side. So when I write a quadratic, I want to write the x squared part first, so that'd be positive x squared. The 4x would come next, it'd be negative 4x, and the 1 is still over here, so it's still positive 1. So it's a parabola. All right, this one, I do like I did before. I want to move my y here to make it positive, then move my 7 back. So I have y equals, I have 3x squared plus 4x, and the 7 turns into negative 7. That would be the fastest way. All right, so I want you to try solving this for y. You're going to be moving these guys over to the other side. And to get rid of this 2 right here, you're going to divide by 2. So pause and try it. All right, so you get 2y, it'd be positive 6x squared, plus 8x next, and then minus 10. And I can easily see that these all divide by 2, so I'm going to do it in my head. 3x squared plus 4x minus 5. All right. This next one here, I'm going to move the 8. So I'm going to take away 8, and it goes with a 9, so I'll put it under that one. So I have negative 3y equals 5x squared plus 6x plus 1. Well, I had to divide everything by negative 3, so you can do that, but it doesn't go in there very nicely. So you can also do this. Divide negative 3, divide the whole thing by negative 3, and you can just put this in your calculator. 5x squared plus 6x plus 1 over negative 3. You can put it in like that and put it right into Desmos, your calculator, and it'll take it. Or you could do negative 5/3 x squared minus 2x minus 1/3 if you really feel like it. All right, so moving on. All right, we don't need to do all these things. All right. So I want you to notice in Algebra 2, you're going to have parabolas adding into the mix. And so instead of having only one solution, you may have 2 or more. Or you could have none also, you'll see that. So, in previous times, I would say that this was the answer right there. Well, now I have 2 answers to find. And so you have to say both of them to be correct. All right, we have lines, parabolas, and sometimes circles in some of the pictures. All right, so we're just going to go through and look at these answer choices. So in my answer choices here, in my systems here, I got one answer here. I have 2 and then 5, and the other answer down here is negative 3 and 0. So it doesn't matter which order you say them in. Over here I have 0, negative 3. My other answer is like right there. It's kind of in the middle of stuff, so I'm going to say that estimate that it's like 2.3 and 1.8. So you can't really be wrong because nobody's like giving you the exact measurements there. And so as long as you're pretty close, it's fine. All right, so here I get 0, negative 3. And in this next one, these do not cross at all, so you can have no solution. And you try to do this last one over here. Let's see what you get. So pause the video and do that. All right, so hopefully you got 1, negative 3. And 5, 5 for your solutions right here and right here. All right, so here's what your lesson is today is if you're given a picture, you can solve the system easily by picking out the points of intersection. Right? But sometimes you may have to make your own picture on your calculator or in Desmos. To graph an equation, you must have it solved for y. All right, so I'm going to do that for these, and I'm going to show you also in your calculator a couple things that will happen. So here we go. So to solve this one for y, I'm just going to pop that x squared over. So my new system will be y equals negative x squared plus 5. For this one, I'm going to move the 5 over, so I'll get y equals x squared minus 5. All right, so I'm going to put this in Desmos. All right, so you can see I've put these in here, and I kind of go on my graph here, click on this intersection, and they're comes up 2.236 and negative 2.236. So I'm going to graph that, and remember my answer is about 2.2. All right, so just to draw a little sketch of it, I got one coming around like that, and then I have the other one coming and crossing there. All right, they are intersecting at 2.2 and 0, and the other one is negative 2.2 and 0. Okay. All right. So for this next problem, I have to solve for y. So I'm going to move the 4x over. So y equals 4x plus 2. That's a line. And then the next one, I'm just going to solve for y by moving the x squared and the x over. So I get x squared plus x minus 8. So when I graph these, let's go ahead and do this one on the calculator. And you're going to see a parabola and a line. You might have two intersections again. All right, so graph it. Now, I'm going to go ahead and press second trace and number 5 again, and then press enter 3 times and see what it gives me. Well, it gives me one answer is negative 2 and negative 6. So let me start drawing this on here. I got a parabola kind of looking like this, and then a line coming up. So this one we just found right here was negative 2 and negative 6, and that doesn't look too good because I'm going to move it down a little bit. All right, well, let's even worse. All right, anyway. All right, so you can see over here, the other one I can't see what's happening right there. It's right there. There's another point where it's intersecting. So you have a couple options. You can just go ahead and just try to find that you could go to your table. You could try to look over here, see that negative 2 and the 6. You see how that one matched across there? So you could look for another match on here and see if you see one. On the graph, you can also do this. You can zoom and do number 3, zoom out, and press enter to make it do it. So there's that line, and here's that parabola. I see it crossing now. So it helps you see because when you do second trace, number 5, you see that little blinker? You have to move it closer to the other intersection point, and once it's close, just press enter 3 times. The calculator will do what's closest. And there's the other answer, 522. All right, this last guy, I need to move these over to the other side, so I get y equals negative x minus 10. And the other one, let's move these two over. So I get y equals negative x squared plus 2. So I'll do this one on Desmos. All right, so on this one, negative x minus 10 and negative x squared plus 2. All right, so I can see one answer clearly here, negative 3, negative 7. So to see the other one on Desmos, you want to press the negative sign to zoom out, and then I can see the other one, and for negative 14. So go ahead and just draw yourself a sketch of that thing and write those down. Negative 3, negative 7, and 4, negative 14. I think that was right. Yep. Okay, so your job is to complete the page. Where did my neck? Oh, there it is. All right, to complete this page here, you have 6 problems to do and put them in Desmos or your calculator. There's one where you have to kind of graph it so you can see that you were doing it. And that's it. It shouldn't take you very long at all. I'll see you in class. Bye.